First of all, I know who you are. You know who you are. But the cameras and the audience don't know who you are. So could you just introduce yourself, who you work for, obviously, and what you're doing here at Riviera Connect?
Okay, yeah, my name is Chris Wardle. I am the Chief Manufacturing Officer for QLM Technologies. So we are in the High Tech Centre, and I am the Chair of the Torbay High Tech Cluster.
Fantastic stuff. So what has brought you to Riviera Connect today?
We are here to support the high-tech businesses in Torbay, to kind of show off the opportunities that are available in Torbay in high-tech and creative industries. We represent photonics, electronics, creative tech, marine tech, med tech, amongst other things. So what we're really here to do is to showcase the opportunities that are available in tech across the Bay, raise the profile of the cluster and the cluster companies, and hopefully promote the sector so that we can get younger engineers coming through and supporting the sector for years to come.
Fantastic. And in terms of, for the event today, where can people find the high-tech cluster and QLM? Whereabouts are you based in the Riviera Centre?
So we are in the forum, and we are on stalls F1 to 9. So for those of you that are here, we're there. So yeah, we are just on the left-hand side of the stage as you look at the stage.
Excellent stuff. So in terms of QLM, and then we'll chat about the cluster, what sort of things are you looking for here at Riviera Connect? Like what's beneficial to the business being here at Riviera Connect?
So at QLM, we make quantum gas LiDAR. So we make cameras that detect greenhouse gases.
Fantastic.
Right? So our view is that we have an impact on climate change. What we are here to do today is really just raise awareness of the profile, raise awareness and raise the profile of the organisation. Let people know what we're doing, and hopefully inspire, as I say, inspire the next generation of engineers to stay in the Bay.
Fantastic. And then same again, but for the cluster, I know we touched on this before, but specifically, what is the cluster looking for today?
Very specifically to raise awareness. I think, we work up in the Epicentre with you guys. The majority of the people in the Bay don't know what the Epicentre is. Don't know that we have 15 excellent start-up or SMEs, 250 people working up there, and some of the world's leading photonics, telecoms, satellite producers in the country here in Torbay. So what we're really here to do is just to say, we are here, we're part of the Bay, we're part of the Torbay story. A big part of the Torbay story is tech in the Bay. So yeah, we just kind of want to, as I say, only raise awareness and raise the profile of all the sectors that we've got, and let people know that there are really, really good, exciting jobs in the Bay that are solving the world's most complex problems.
Fantastic. And in terms of the cluster, do you have any of the kind of like top line figures off the top of your head? Just like what impact does that have for the Bay?
So the numbers that we've got, we think we employ across the cluster over 1,000 people.
Right.
And the estimations that we have are that we bring in a minimum of 150 to 200 million.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Into the Bay. And when we talk about gross value add figures, GVA I think the average GVA in the Bay is about 24k.
Right.
But within the cluster companies, it's north of 80k.
Fantastic.
Right? So it really does provide people the opportunity to have well-paid work here. And, I think the more businesses that we have that do this, the more money people have to spend around the Bay. A rising tide floats all boats. So, we spend in the shops, we spend in the bars, we spend in the restaurants, blah, 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 blah. So I think it's very important that we maintain these industries to complement the harbour, to complement tourism and all the bedrock and the NHS and all the bedrock industries that we've got. But yeah, there's that. The estimation is there's a lot of value brought to the Bay from the companies we represent.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think obviously with the theme of this being everything local, the local business community, in terms of Torbay, lots of people think of specifically leisure tourism. It's a fantastic place for that. It's a beautiful area. But what does Torbay bring specifically for that high-tech community, for QLM, for the cluster? What sort of benefit does Torbay have for you guys?
The history of the area goes back to 1954 when STC, or Standard Telecom as it was, built the first factory up in just off Long Road, so where the range is now, up at White Rock. And then I can't remember exactly what date, but I think sometime in the 80s or 90s that was bought by a company called the business was split into two. AVX bought their valve division, and a company called Nortel Networks, who were a spin out of a Canadian Northern Telecom, big Canadian company, took on the site, and it became second largest producer of telecoms components in the world. Right, so lasers, fiber optics, amplifiers, wireless technology, so all the things that we kind of think about: photonics, electronics, high volume electronics through AVX. So there's a strong legacy of high tech in the Bay. And its peak, that site, the Nortel site alone, employed 5,200 people, and that's not inclusive of all the automation companies and the suppliers and all the kind of feeder companies that go into an ecostructure like that. So almost at that point, the majority of people working in the Bay, one way or another, touched technology, right? So the legacy of that is that we still have a very rich skill set of photonics, electronics, tech, and entrepreneurial people, which of course then feeds into, we think about the world that I was talking in our conference last week about the world that we live in today, and all of this stuff, right, wouldn't be available today had it not been for the infrastructure, fiber optics and stuff that went into the ground 25 years ago. And that's what we were doing at kind of Nortel Network. So it's actually funny, I was talking about a daughter at this conference, because I'm saying she now has a career that's built on stuff that I was making 25 years ago.
Fantastic.
So that legacy is in the Bay. And there's a very, very rich skill set. And the Bay is recognised across the country for photonics and electronics, creative tech, and that sort of technology.
Fantastic. And I suppose today, again, is about raising that awareness that there is that element within Torbay. And I think, it's not just leisure and tourism, it is all this other bigger business opportunities down here as well. This is the interviewer in me coming out. But obviously, knowing what you guys do at QLM and knowing about the current climate issues that are happening, I just wanted to get your take on that one, and that side of things from QLM standpoint. Obviously, what is it that QLM is doing that kind of could help with this situation that we've seen come out in the media to do with climate change? Okay,
so what we do is we make so what greenhouse gases do is greenhouse gases essentially trap radiation from the sun and keep the planet warm, right? And so therefore, if there's too much greenhouse gases, there's too much stuff getting trapped, right? And therefore, the planet gets warmer, right? And that leads to almost, you think about all these things that we're seeing in India, that we're seeing, in Spain, floods, flash floods, fires in Greece. All of these things are happening more and more as a result of the planet getting warmer and warmer. And it's something that we're going to have to come to terms with and have to live with, right? So what our technology does is it uses an infrared laser, and it detects greenhouse gas emissions. So if you're in an oil and gas field, or if you are a wastewater site, or if you are on landfill, and we get asked a lot about cows.
Okay, right?
Because we are doing some work with agriculture and agri-tech about methane capture. So what our camera does is it allows us to detect methane. Okay. We've also got a system that does carbon dioxide, and we're looking at things like ammonia and NOx and various other things. So we have a tool that it's almost, we call it like a security camera for the environment,
Right.
right? And our view is that if we can stop, if you can detect where methane is leaking, you can fix it, and it will stop going into the environment. Biggest issue that we have at the moment is stances in some Western governments brought on by changing of policy in the US predominantly from January,
Right.
where regulation was looking to be quite strong, right? So the oil and gas guys, the oil and gas providers in the US are looking less and less and less at the methane that they're emitting and the carbon dioxide that they're emitting as a byproduct of drilling for oil.
Yeah.
Right. Now, where regulation in Europe, they are being a lot more stringent about it, but the regulations aren't as well developed yet. Okay, so we have this kind of, there's going to be a major push in the US, which is now been repealed by the current government, and we are, the European regulations which are going to come in and people are going to do something about, but they just aren't as stringent yet. So what we are doing aside oil and gas is looking at, so methane is a byproduct of waste, right? Human waste, animal waste. So we do a lot of work with water providers, people like Severn Trent, as they process wastewater.
Okay.
Right. And we do, we're doing some work with some dairy farmers down in Cornwall at the moment, because if you can capture the methane that comes from cow waste, then something like, if you're a dairy farmer with 300 cows and your turnover is about $1 million,
right?
If you can capture all the methane that comes off those cows, and you could either turn it into biogas, biomethane, or biofuel, and you could harness all of that energy, it would be worth about $300,000 a year to a farmer with 300 cows. Right?
Okay.
So there's a guy in Cornwall who's trying to say to dairy farmers, your methane is worth more than your milk.
Wow. Yeah, that's terrifying.
But the byproduct of that is also, if you can capture this methane, so we have a problem at the moment, even if you could capture the methane, getting it back into the grid. Right? And it's the same with wastewater, right? But if you can capture it and you can get it back into the grid, it also helps in other ways. Like if you turn it into biomethane, you can run your plant, so your tractors and stuff, off of methane. And you probably see trucks going around the country at the moment that say powered by poo, and they're all biomethane. They're all fueled by biomethane. And that's got a double whammy effect. A, it puts more money into pockets of rural farms in Devon and Cornwall, locally, and around the country. It stops them buying diesel. And it also stops methane going into the atmosphere that normally would have gone. So there's a kind of triple effect. So really what we're trying to do is we're trying to have a significant effect on climate change bit by bit, industry by industry. But as I say, that's not, we're the oil and gas side to it who emit the most. Are stepping away from the regulatory requirements that we think are important for the future of the climate.
Right. Fair enough. Okay, so in terms of like bringing it back to Riviera Connects and obviously the local community, how do you support the business community, the Torbay business community, and how are you supported by the local businesses as well? What sort of relationship is there between yourselves, the high-tech cluster, and Torbay business?
So, I mean, us as tech companies don't do a lot of business locally, right? We do some business with Bay Photonics. As QLM, we do some business with Bay Photonics. But there is kind of cross very strong community within the tech companies within Torbay. And it's important that a thing that we pull together as a cluster to, so that we can ensure, as I say, these jobs are going to be here for generations to come. I I think it's, as I say, we don't do a lot of business in Torbay, but it's important for events like this for people to know that we're here, right?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I think it's that kind of piece about you've got this local community of technology business.
Yeah.
That's actually having a global impact.
Yeah.
Compared to the kind of size of the recognition that you get.
So we do a lot of work with the cluster and representing the cluster companies with various business groups. So we're part of the Torbay Business Advisory Group, right?
Right.
So the business voice of Torbay that feeds into through the devolved. So don't know if everybody's aware, but we are currently now have a devolved council.
Yes.
With Devon and Torbay and not Plymouth. And the idea is that we kind of tear up the voice of business all the way through to Parliament.
Fantastic.
So we work with the Torbay Business Advisory Group, and we also sit on the Devon and Torbay Business Advisory Group. So the Business Advisory Group that advises the combined council authority.
Yeah.
On the decisions that should be made for Devon and Cornwall.
Brilliant.
For Devon.
Yeah, Devon.
We also do a lot of work with a thing called the South West Manufacturers Network.
Okay.
So we support. We're on the leadership group for South West Manufacturers Network, which represents manufacturing and tech companies across Cornwall, Devon, Somerset, and Dorset.
Yeah.
We're heavily involved in groups like Tech South West, where we're really, really promoting Torbay business within the tech communities across the Southwest and across the country. And last week we were up in Glasgow promoting the high-tech cluster to a UK photonics conference called Photonics Means. And they were showcasing the high-tech cluster. So
Brilliant.
we were the special showcase, and we were showcasing QLM, Bay Photonics, Superb, G&H, Coherent.
Fantastic.
The Epic Centre and the cluster as a whole. So we're trying to really get out there and represent the Bay and let everybody know that Torbay is open for business.
Excellent stuff. And thinking about wrapping it up now, obviously don't want to take too much of your time. You've got people to be talking to other than myself. So thank you very much for your time. In terms of QLM, the cluster, and Torbay business, what can we expect to see from you guys as QLM and the cluster over Q4 2026? What should we look out for?
What we are trying to do, so as QLM, what you would expect, what we're looking to do is to diversify our strategic direction, right?
Okay.
To pivot away from oil and gas in the current climate and look at how we support the other industries, like the second biggest emitter of greenhouse gases, agriculture.
Yeah.
Right? So how do we support agriculture? How do we support the water companies? How do we support processing? How do we support landfill? And how do we do that locally and then wider into the UK? And then grow that portfolio and allow people, to earn carbon credits to, there's a fund just been set up with some of the larger supermarkets that will give farmers and organisations £60 for every tonne of greenhouse gases they can say that they are saving.
Nice. So, okay.
And we want to be able to provide them the opportunity to do that, right? And they care, right? From the cluster's perspective, we are currently working through the industrial strategy. The problem that we have down here in the Southwest is we're not mentioned a lot in the industrial strategy, and we need to let government know they should be investing in us.
Yeah, definitely.
So we are looking through our 5 to 10 year strategy and how we align to the recent industrial strategy, the 8 schemes of the industrial strategy, of which we think the cluster fits into 6. And in particular, the frontier industries that feed it, so photonics, electronics, quantum, creative, film, media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're currently pulling together our kind of 5 to 10 year view of how we align to the industrial strategy, why we are relevant, why people should care, and then give that visibility of the fantastic work-life balance that you have here and the opportunities that you have to do really interesting things and live in a fantastic part of the world. And just have that lifestyle that we really enjoy down here. But to do that, we've got to show why we're relevant, that we matter. And we matter because we are doing the things which are going to have the highest growth areas in the country for the next 10 years.
Fantastic. Well, Chris, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ollie. It's been a pleasure, mate.
Thank you very much.